All right, so get this chisenbop. You sent over this excerpt from the Complete Book of Chisanbop. And honestly, I always thought, yeah, finger counting, that was for kids, right?
Right.
But this book, this Hang Young Pai, got me thinking maybe there's more to it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not just child's play. Chisenbop, it actually comes from Korea. And it's all about, like, getting numbers, like, spatially and building a good base for arithmetic.
Spatial reasoning. See, now that's interesting. I'm very visual. How does that even work?
So think of it this way. Instead of memorizing, times tables and all that, it's like you're doing these math puzzles, but with your hands. So in chisenbop, every single finger gets a value.
Okay.
Kind of like, those little abacuses.
Right, right.
It's like you have one on your hand, basically. Left hand's your tens, right hand's units.
Each finger's got its own little job, like a little team. That's cool. But how do you, like, actually calculate?
Okay, so the whole system, it uses these they call them manipulations in the book, press 5, clear 4, and press 10, clear 9. And honestly, once you get these, the calculations just kind of
Okay.
become intuitive.
I'm intrigued now. I mean, the names, they're pretty straightforward. But can we try an example? Because seeing it would really help, I think.
For sure. Let's say, okay, you're at a market, right? Busy market in Korea. You want to buy 5 apples. Now, you could count each finger, but with chisenbop. Press down your thumb on your right hand.
Okay, so right hand, thumb down, 5 apples. Got it.
Now, let's say you want 2 more apples. So this is where that press 5, how they clear 4 comes in. Press down your index and middle fingers. Those are 2, right? But you're going to lift your thumb at the same time. So you're kind of clearing the 5, right?
Okay, so now index, middle finger down. Does that mean...
There you go. 7 fingers down. You've got your 7 apples visually.
See, that's way more intuitive than I thought it would be. Like, I can see with practice, you could really get fast with this.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one thing that Pei really stresses in the book. It's all about practice. You keep practicing those moves, those manipulations. They become like muscle memory, almost
Right.
like a sixth sense for numbers, you know?
Yeah, it's like learning an instrument or a sport, you're building those pathways.
Exactly. And what's really neat is this whole like kinesthetic angle. It really helps people who, maybe traditional memorization isn't their thing.
Totally. I remember like, oh, multiplication tables, just brutal, this is way more like engaging.
Right. It taps into that multisensory learning the book talks about. Like they even say you should actually say the numbers out loud as you press the fingers. Another layer, right?
Oh, so it's like sight,
Yeah.
touch, sound, all working together. It's like you build this whole mental map.
Absolutely.
Way better than just seeing it on paper,
That multimodal approach, they've found it helps memory and understanding in all sorts of fields, not just math even.
Okay. It's like learning a language.
Yeah.
So much easier. If you hear it spoken, you try speaking, even visuals tied in. Way better than just vocabulary lists,
Exactly. It's about making these connections in your brain so it sticks with you.
Right. Makes you think, what other stuff is out there, right? Like we just haven't been taught the right way, maybe.
That's the beauty of this kind of thing. It makes you question those assumptions, opens up possibilities.
So I got to ask, have you ever actually tried chisenbop?
Oh, I've dabbled, yeah. And it's, I gotta admit, kind of addictive once you start. There's this like satisfaction when you feel the calculation click in your hands,
Like a little brain workout.
Yeah.
But with your fingers. And the book even mentions, like, it can be almost meditative, right?
There's definitely a rhythm to it. Yeah. Like, it's not about being super fast. It's more about, like you said, a different kind of fluency with the numbers.
Like you're using a whole different part of your brain.
Absolutely.
Like a more intuitive side.
Yeah, it encourages you to engage with math in a way that, frankly, a lot of people, especially young learners, anyone who finds like traditional arithmetic a bit scary, this can be really good for them.
Right. It's like, it reminds you there's not just one way to solve something. And sometimes those like unexpected ways are the best.
Exactly. And you never know, maybe rediscovering that joy of learning through something like chisenbop, that opens you up to a whole bunch of other stuff, too.
It's wild, right? Like finger counting, we think, oh, that's kid stuff. But it's got these like deep lessons about learning no matter how old you are.
For sure. We forget that the simple stuff, especially with something as like basic as math, it can be really powerful.
You get so stuck thinking, okay, there's the way to do math, But this chisenbop, it shows you there's all these paths to the same answer, and they each bring something different.
Absolutely. And those different ways, a lot of times, they help you understand it even better. And it's just more fun to learn that way, too.
This whole dive has been eye-opening, honestly. Like you'd think, oh, finger counting, that's simple. But it changes how you see numbers? I mean, really?
It proves there's always more to learn, even in the stuff we think we know, right? And a lot of times it's the stuff that seems weird or different that ends up, like, changing the game.
So listeners, if this chisenbop thing has got you curious, don't be afraid to try new stuff out there, whether it's languages, music, anything. If it's interesting, give it a shot.
Exactly. You never know what you're good at, what you'll love, until you actually try it, right? Step outside that comfort zone, find new ways to learn, you'll be surprised.
It's been great exploring this with you. Until next time, everyone, keep those minds curious and maybe get those fingers counting a little bit.